Great. Thank you, Anubha. Thank you so much for getting us started. So, are we all good? Give me a thumbs up so that I can start. Great, Dipti. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nikita. Okay. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Kavya. Yay, I'm seeing more faces now. Great. Okay. So, like I said, natural dyes has become really synonymous to us, and we hear this word loosely on a regular day basis. पहले भी सुनते थे, हमारी दादी नानियां बहुत सारा natural dyeing करती भी थी घर पे. और आजकल because of the pandemic, and I always say this, thanks to the pandemic, that we are getting back to our roots, we are connecting back to our roots. And natural dyes has become like the most second most important thing. Like every time we're looking for clothing, every time we're searching for something, we do look for a word which says, okay, it's naturally dyed or sustainably procured or produced. So like going back to the history, it's almost 26,000 years old, and traces of natural dye. The first natural dye known to us was indigo, and the traces of that were found in Mohenjo-daro, and the excavation that happened there was a bust of a king which is presently kept in a Pakistani museum. It had traces of indigo, and that's how we know that natural dyes were even practiced at that point in time. So they are that old. And coming back to our Indian references, in a lot of our Vedas also there is a description of natural dyes and how they were used. And the other day I was just reading, there was an introduction to the natural dyes in the Athar Vedas, and also a description of it in Bhrigu Samhita. The Bhrigu Samhita is also said to be written with natural dyes. I don't know how true is that, but Google tells us this. So that's how old the dyes are. Even the paintings that used to be done earlier, and miniature painting is the the closest reference of a natural dyed painting that is still available to us. A lot of natural dyes were used in paintings as well. And today, even if you go to any museums and you see some, dyed fabrics or fragments of dyed fabrics or book covers or anything, you will notice that a lot of the textiles were dyed with natural colors. And that has been the tradition until industrial revolution happened, and a lot of chemicals came about and polluted the entire scene. And how commercialization being the major stepping stone towards forgetting these dyes and the availability of these dyes. But yes, thankfully to COVID, we are returning to them. At Fabric Lore, we ourselves are getting into the research and development of natural dyes. We are trying to get as many colors as possible in natural dyes, so that we can come up with a collection for you all to see and to buy. But yes, more on that later, because we're still with the research and everything that is still going on at the back end. Now coming to the categories of natural dye. Now we all know that some plant, some herb, something will give one color, but that's a very loose explanation of how you get to natural dyes or how you achieve natural dyes. So I would tell you that there are three major origins of natural dye. One is which is developed from a vegetable source, which is like red cabbage ले लो आप, या onion skins ले लो, या फिर vegetable and plant basis में आप marigolds ले सकते हो, हल्दी ले सकते हो. These are like dyes which are readily available to us and are in vegetable and plant sources. Second form is from the animal itself. So now the animal sources of the dyes are not vegan dyes. Best known example of a animal dye is lark. A lot of us have heard that lark gives us red color. Now this is extracted from the animal, from a very small animal that lays eggs on the tree barks and all. And to achieve, and then later they are shaved off of the tree, and those chips are used to get the red color. So other example of that is cochineal. Cochineal is not really available, readily available to us, and neither in our daily life we have heard about this word, because it's mostly available outside of India. But yes, for red colors in India, the most common example of a animal origin dye is lark. And the third is a mineral dye. Now, what are mineral dyes? Mineral dyes are basically which are extracted from stones or some compounds or something. Which the best example of a mineral dye is iron. Iron gives you a black color. Now, a lot of hand printing in Jaipur, for instance, the Syahi Begar of Bagru, uses a lot of, so the syahi is the black color of that particular craft. Now, black color is obtained by keeping a iron mixed with a solution of jaggery. And it's kept for a certain amount of days. It's fermented for a certain amount of days, and that's how you get the black color. Or it's locally, you know, in Jaipur, in Bagru, it's called kart. Kart means the black color, the black dye. It's also very popular in Ajrak and the bark printings, and any printing, any natural printing that uses that color is derived from iron. So that was a little bit about how we get our natural dyes. Now, natural dye hair, though, we do need some sort of fabrics and fibers and everything. So we will talk about basically the kind of fibers that are available to us and that we use for dyeing. The first and the basic and the most commonly available fabric is cotton. Now, cotton is a cellulosic fiber. Now, cellulosic fibers में आपका banana भी आता है, आपका hemp भी आता है, आपका soybean भी आता है, and any type of cotton that we use falls under the cellulosic fiber category. Cellulosic fibers are the most difficult to dye with natural dyes. They don't have an affinity towards natural dyes, and that is why we have to use certain steps in the process to get to that color, to get to that, you know, achieve that color. Second is the second example is the animal sources that we use to get. So most common animal source for fiber is silk. Commonly used, and we've been using it for a very long period of time. Again, it's not a vegan source, so a lot of vegans nowadays have moved on from using silk and they've moved to vegan sources of silk now. And the third one is the regenerative fiber. Now, as we are progressing, we also realize that we cannot always rely on cotton as the source for our fabrics. So man-made fibers such as which are called regenerative fibers, the most common example of that is the viscose and the modal varieties that you come across. Now, how do they produce these fibers? Just a little info I'll give you on this. They are produced from the trees. They are sustainable because, you know, wherever these trees are harvested or they are cut to produce the fiber, the same amount is, you know, replanted. So it's like a renewable forest that, you know, keeps happening. So the major players in the market who do this, they do have the certain amount of forest under them, and they keep, you know, regenerating that resource so that we don't run out of it. And that is the most common regenerative fiber, which is very close to our cellulosic fibers or fibers like silk and cotton. Okay, so till here, anybody has a question? Anybody wants to ask anything? Okay, I do have a question from Dipti here, but are they durable? Dipti, if you're referring to the natural dyes here, yes, they are durable, but you have to be very cautious while using them. And I will be touching this topic while we are towards the end of the session, because then it will make more sense and you'll understand why am I saying they are durable, but not very durable when compared to the chemical dyes. Guys, I will also be very comfortable speaking in Hindi. So, agar aap logon ko you need any bilingual support, please let me know. I can also have the session in that format. Okay. ठीक है मोनिका जी, मैं पूरी कोशिश करूंगी, मैं कंबाइन करके बात करूंगी तो थोड़ा सा आई थिंक वो सबके लिए सही रहेगा. Okay, so now okay, great, thank you Monica, thank you. Okay, so now moving on, how do we get to natural dyes? सबसे पहला जो स्टेप होता है, you will be getting a recording after this. There is no PPT as such, but we can put together some short informative word file or a PDF file for you guys. Yeah, Renu, yes, I am going to do that. English, yes, absolutely. Great. Tejasvi, I think I'm going to do a mix of both so that everybody is engaged. Yeah, okay. Okay, so okay, moving forward, how do we start doing natural dyes? The first and the foremost and the most important thing in a natural dye is water, pani. सबसे जरूरी मतलब हमारे जीवन के लिए भी और हमारे नेचुरल लाइफ के लिए भी सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी पानी है। तो पानी वैसे अगर आपके घर में, सबके घरों में आरओ लगा होगा या एक्वागार्ड लगा होगा, तो सबको पता होगा कि हार्ड वाटर और सॉफ्ट वाटर हम चेक करते हैं कि कैसे उससे हमें पता चलता है कि उसके हिसाब से फिर हमको आरओ या एक्वागार्ड सजेस्ट किया जाता है कि आप कौन सी वैरायटी लो, क्या लो। सेम थिंग हैपेंस विद नेचुरल डाइज। नेचुरल डाइज के लिए भी आपको जो पानी की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, द बेस्ट वाटर रिसोर्स इज द रेन वाटर रिसोर्स। बट अब हम सबके पास रेन वाटर तो अवेलेबल हो नहीं सकता, हमारे पास या तो हार्ड वाटर होगा या सेमी हार्ड या सॉफ्ट वाटर अवेलेबल होगा। तो ये दो तरीके के जो वाटर होते हैं ये अवेलेबल होते हैं, लेकिन हमको वाटर को या तो न्यूट्रल रखना पड़ता है। मतलब बेस्ट वाटर इज न्यूट्रल वाटर दैट वी यूज, बेस्ट, दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग रेन वाटर, या फिर रिवर वाटर या फिर वेल का वाटर या ऐसा कुछ। हार्ड वाटर होता है, इफ यू यूज हार्ड वाटर then it becomes difficult to dye. To achieve certain colors, we need the water to be a soft water. Now, how would you identify if it's a hard water or a soft water? Now, hard water identify करने का सबसे सही तरीका है pH scale. Now, a pH scale is something you can find on Amazon. आपको pH papers मिलते हैं which are ranked from 1 to 14. बहुत पहले एड्स में भी आते थे, साबुन वगैरह के जो एड्स होते थे उसमें भी पीएच पेपर दिखाया जाता था। That's the same pH paper that I'm talking about. You can get it on Amazon. You can also get a thermometer which is a pH thermometer. So you can put it in your water and see what is the pH of your water. Now, hard water will have more than 120 mg of minerals like calcium. ये सारी चीजें उसमें मिक्स होती हैं, तो वो more than 120 milligram अगर आ रहा है आपका पानी का, so that means it's a hard water, which is good for two types of dyes, which is madder and दूसरा is sapanwood. ये दो तरह की डाई अगर हमको करनी है तो हमको हार्ड वाटर की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है। इसके अलावा हम कोई भी डाई करेंगे हमको सॉफ्ट वाटर की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है। Now, what is soft water? Soft water is which has less than 60 mg of chemicals in it, which is your rain water, well water, river water, whatever you want to call it. Mostly हमारे घरों में, if you are living in urban areas, हमारे घरों में soft water बीच का water आता है, which is mostly towards the softer side. तो अगर हम pH नहीं use करते तो भी we are good to go. But if you feel like आपको घर पे विदाउट pH पेपर कैसे पता चलेगा आपका वाटर हार्ड है, you need to check for calcinations. अगर your tap is showing some sort of salt deposits in it on a after a regular usage of that particular tap, you can identify your water as hard water, because hard water will corrode your taps and will corrode your will have depositions. You will have white depositions. So that is how without a pH paper you can check. And if there's no kind of deposition on your taps, then it's as good as soft water. Monica G wants to know hard water is good for madder and sapanwood. There are two types of dye, madder and sapanwood. These two dyes are good with hard water. Rest all is good for soft water. Okay, I am not clearly audible. Am I audible now? Yeah, okay, okay. Now, I'll tell you what is acidic, what is neutral, and what is alkaline in a pH scale. So, any water which is between 1 to 6 pH is called acidic water. And neutral is the 7 का जो scale होता है, that is the neutral. And 8 to 14 जो भी होता है वो alkaline होता है. If you are using a pH paper, that is if you are using a pH paper. Now, वाटर के साथ ये पूरा प्रोसेस, नेचुरल डाई का जो भी प्रोसेस होगा, चाहे आप वॉशिंग करें, चाहे आप डाइंग करें, चाहे आप मॉडर्निंग करें, आपको वाटर की रिक्वायरमेंट हर स्टेज पे रहेगी. यू विल नीड वाटर एट एवरी स्टेज. सो so this was about water. If anybody has any queries about the pH, you can ask me now, or you can reserve the question. We can have a session at the end of it also. I'm assuming no one has a question on water. Okay. Now, the second most important step in natural dyeing is scouring. Scouring is a technical term which we use in the industry. आप इसको washing भी बोल सकते हो. Now, why is scouring necessary? So I will show you by example what a fabric looks like when I have got it. So if you see closely, this is the fabric which is in gray form. आप मार्केट में जाओगे तो यू विल गेट फैब्रिक्स, पीपल विल आस्क यू आपको RFD चाहिए कि ग्रे चाहिए. So if you talk about gray fabric, this is how it looks like. So if you notice, you will see some black, small black points in this fabric, right? And if you touch this fabric, like even if you do crush the fabric, you will see that it's not easily crushable. There is still some sort of starch in the fabric, and there's some gum in the fabric. There's impurities in the fabrics. So this is what a gray fabric looks like. Now, the second quality of fabric that you will get is the RFD fabric. RFD का full form होता है ready for dyeing. जब हम RFD fabric की बात करते हैं तो RFD fabric will look something like this, which has been washed and is devoured of impurities. But natural dyeing की अगर मैं बात करूं और आपको grey fabric मिलता है, if you get gray cotton, then scouring becomes the most important step towards achieving a good natural dye color. Now, what happens in scouring? It starts with soaking your fabric for 8 to 12 hours. Now, even if you go for 24 hours, if you soak your fabric for 24 hours, that also is even better. Now, what will you observe when you just have to take a half a bucket of water and just dip this fabric in water. That's all. And you have to leave it for 12 hours. Maximum, if you can leave, you have to leave it for 24 hours. At the end of 12 or 24 hours, you will notice that the water color has become yellow. So, पीला गंदा पीला हो जाएगा पानी का रंग. Why? Because all the impurities, initial impurities जो cotton fabric में थी, the oil, the impurities, the dirt, everything has come down into water. That's stage 1 of scouring. पहला step है in scouring. After you have washed your fabric in water, in plain water, in whatever water is available at your home, the fabric will look something like this. Now, if you will notice here, you will not see black seeds or any sort of impurity. So this is how the comparison looks like. I'll show it to you. You see how pressed and decent this fabric looks and how rough this fabric looks. This one is scoured and this one is gray fabric. So after putting it in water, this is how the fabric will look like. Now, moving forward, the second step in scouring is keeping and boiling the fabric in a solution of soda ash and a pH neutral soap. Now, pH neutral soap क्या है? हमने जो पहले नेचुरल डाइंग हम करते हैं या अगर हम किसी क्राफ्ट की बात करते हैं तो बहुत सारे लोगों ने हमको बोला है कि अरीठा में वॉश कर लो फैब्रिक को, क्योंकि अरीठा नेचुरल सोर्स होता है. इट्स अ नेचुरल सोर्स ऑफ डिटर्जेंट. It gives you soapy texture. You can wash your hair, you can wash your soaps, wash your clothes in aritha, and that's what our grandmothers and nannies also used to do. But aritha does give a little bit of roughness to the cloth, and aritha in the long run is not suitable for washing your garments on a regular basis. Now, luckily in the market, हमको बहुत सारे pH neutral soap के options available हैं. A lot of companies have come up with their own detergents which they claim to be pH neutral. You can choose whichever best is available to you and whichever best you are inclined towards buying. I'm not suggesting any brands here. Another very good option is if you don't have a pH neutral soap at home, if you don't have access to aritha, just take a Dettol hand wash, the regular Dettol hand wash, the yellow colored liquid that comes, जो बचपन में हमारे आता था और आज भी आता है, that Dettol liquid. Dettol is supposed to be pH neutral, the basic Dettol. I'm not talking about any colors or any other perfumes that come in Dettol variety. The basic Dettol is supposed to be pH neutral, and when mixed with soda ash in a solution of water, it will scour your fabrics even further. It's like kind of washing your fabric in a detergent. आप मशीन में जो वॉश करते हो वो आप पतीले में करोगे. Simple recipe है इसकी. You will have, so now how will you do this? First is water का ratio, जो basic water का ratio रहता है, that is 1:20. When I talk about 1 refers to 1 kg. तो 1 किलो यान या फैब्रिक के लिए मुझे 20 लीटर पानी की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. That's the basic ratio. Now, how much soda ash that you need, I will give you that recipe also. So you will need about 2% of soda ash per gram or per kg of your fabric. And you will need around 4% or 4% of soap per kg of your fabric. Now, coming back to scouring. How will I know how much of the weight of the fabric that it is I am using? What I will do is I'll take a kitchen scale and I will keep the fabric, however big is your fabric, however big, half meter, 1 meter, 0.25 centimeters, whatever, just fold it and keep it on a weighing scale and take out the weight of the fabric in grams. This fabric currently is 68 grams. So whatever calculations I have done to achieve the colors, the mordant, the everything, the scouring, everything I've done according to 68 grams. So percentages I have given you, and according to that percentages, you can take out how much material you would be requiring for scouring. Any questions till now on scouring? Anybody wants to ask me something about scouring? Because this is how you will do scouring. Once you have mixed the solution, the soda ash and the liquid detergent in your water, you will boil the water and then you will dip it inside the water. Now, boiling water se mera matlab hai ki you have to keep the temperature between 60 to 80 degrees centigrade, which is difficult to touch, but not very difficult. If your hands get into the water, you will not burn. That kind of a temperature we need. We will put the water on and we'll soak the fabric in it. We will kind of keep churning the fabric so that base pe fabric lage nahi. It should not touch the base, like jalna nahi chahiye fabric niche. तो हम उसको constantly stir करते रहेंगे. And when you will immerse the fabric in water, I will tell you how you will immerse also. If this is the width of your fabric, just do this. Randomly create pleats like this. आपको ये length मिल जाएगी, and then slowly start dipping it in water, so that each and every fiber of this cloth gets the solution in it. Then only you will be able to thoroughly clean this. After this, you will have to keep the water on the gas stove for say about 5-10 minutes, and then you can remove it from the gas, keep aside, and just stir the fabric in 10-15 minutes. Keep stirring the fabric, soak it in this. Entire process will take around 30 to 45 minutes. The idea of doing this is to get the fabric completely clean and completely ready for dyeing. ये step, please do not omit this step. अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि you have put the fabric in water and that has taken out all the impurities, that has not. We have just cleaned the surface dirt of the fabric. To clean the fabric inside out, this particular step is very important. Okay, I will get to all the recipes at the end of the session as well, so that you all have the recipe and the entire ratio and the percentage cleared. So even if you've missed something during this session, please do not worry. Okay, now we come to the next step. The next step is mordants and tannins. Now, what are mordants? Very loosely referred word, but very popularly used word is mordant. Mordant kiya ki nahi kiya, natural dye nikal jayega agar mordant nahi kiya. So what is mordant? Mordant comes from a Latin or French word which actually means to bite. Now, whatever we use as a mordant, alum is the most common mordant that is available in organic form, which we will also use in our dyeing. It means to bite. So when you bite the fabric, you kind of create a layer on the fabric, which is called, this layer of mordant will be created on the fabric. Now, when this layer is created, it helps the colors to bind well with the fibers, so that the color becomes long lasting. Now, this is one step which I would like to show it to you. I want to do it in front of you, so that you also understand how, the measurements also you will understand, and you will also see how I'm dipping the fabric and how I'm doing the process. So I'll just take a 10-second break, 10-15-second break. I'll adjust the camera and I'll start my stove, and then I'll show how the process is done. Just give me 10-15 seconds. Hi guys, I'm back. Okay. Now, as I was talking about mordants and tannins are two steps which are very important. Uh, First, I'll give you a little introduction on tannin before we get to start with mordanting. Tannin के बारे में बता देती हूँ मैं आपको. Tannin is basically a dye. It's basically a step that assists the mordants in to kind of attach the dyes more closely to the fabric. Cellulosic fabric fibers में सबसे ज़्यादा they are not they are not very affirmative to natural dyeing. Cellulosic fibers में natural dye करना बहुत difficult है, तो इसलिए हम tannin का सहारा लेते हैं ताकि mordants अच्छे से चढ़ पाएं और हम dyeing में better results achieve कर सकें. Now, except pomegranate, walnut, tea leaves, onion skins, ये 4-5 ऐसे कलर्स हैं जिनमें नेचुरल टैनिन अवेलेबल होता है, तो उस केस में हमको टैनिन का स्टेप करने की जरूरत नहीं है. लेकिन अदर देन दैट, अगर आप हल्दी करते हो या मैरीगोल्ड करते हो या रोज करते हो या कोई भी और कलर आप करते हो, स्पिनिच करते हो, कोई भी कलर करते हो, तो आपको एक टैनिन की जरूरत पड़ेगी. इंडिया में सबसे कॉमन अवेलेबल टैनिन जिसके बारे में सबने सुना होगा माइरोबलन के नाम से आता है, जिसको हम हिंदी में हरडा भी बोलते हैं. Harda will give you a slightly yellowish color. If I'm able to show you correctly, it's a slightly yellow color. Now, since this step requires a lot of time, it takes around 30 minutes to achieve it. I've already done this step for you guys. I'll give you the recipe of doing it. The process remains the same. We boil water, and then in boiled water, we pour a paste of myrobalan, and then we dip I am so sorry. Okay, am I audible now? Okay, so I'll repeat what I told about mordants. Yeah, okay. So like I said, mordants means to bite. It will create a layer on your fabric and it will have an affinity towards absorbing the dye content and making the dye more light and color fast. नेचुरल डाई में सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम यही होती है कि हमको नेचुरल डाई कभी लाइट फास्ट नहीं होता, कभी कलर फास्ट नहीं होता. I'll talk about care instructions later, but yes, why it happens because a lot of times फैब्रिक की पहली स्टेप ये है कि स्काउरिंग नहीं होती अच्छे से. तो स्काउरिंग नहीं होती तो जब आप ग्रे कपड़े के ऊपर कुछ भी चढ़ाओगे तो वो कभी भी एब्जॉर्ब नहीं करेगा. इट्स लाइक अ स्पंज. आप स्पंज को जितने अच्छे से पानी पिलाओगे वो उतने अच्छे से लादर क्रिएट करेगा. बट अगर आप स्पंज को पानी नहीं पिलाओगे और उसको लादर करने के लिए सोप डालते जाओगे तो यू आर जस्ट वेस्टिंग योर सोप. दैट इज हाउ नेचुरल डाइज आल्सो वर्क. तो स्काउरिंग सबसे पहला इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप है जो हमने कर लिया है. सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप इज मॉर्डेंटिंग एंड टैनिंग. टैनिंग मैंने इस कपड़े पे ऑलरेडी कर लिया है हरडा के साथ. It has given the fabric a light yellow sheen, like you can see here, the entire fabric. And now I'm going to do mordanting on it. Mordanting हम करने वाले हैं आज. I have got powdered alum with me. This is how it looks. मार्केट में आपको पाउडर्ड एलम नहीं मिलेगा, मार्केट में आपको पत्थर ही मिलेंगे. तो यू हैव टू डू दिस एट योर होम. प्लीज डू नॉट यूज मिक्सर ग्राइंडर्स बिकॉज वो खराब हो जाएंगे. तो ऑलवेज हैंड पाउंड देम. Now, okay, so how will I weigh the fabric? This is a kitchen weighing scale that I have bought it off Amazon. इसको tear करके I will keep it and I will put the fabric on the scale. I don't think you guys can see it. Oh, just the battery. This is how you will keep the fabric and your scale will show you how much color, weight of the fabric is. This right now is 68 grams. So according to 68 grams, I will use 10% of mordant on this. So for 10%, it is roughly around 6 or 7 grams of mordant that I will be using. Okay, so to mordant, I have the small size patila with me here, which I have filled with water. And I am just going to since my scale has died on me right now, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to by assumption, I'm just going to take a handful of this and just put it in water and dissolve it. When you will put alum in water, I will like to show you. This is how it will look like. You see sediments at the in the end. Do you see some sediments? This is how. Yeah, thank you, Anubhav. Do you see some crystals? There's a little bit of crystal at the base of the water. So this will take some time to dissolve. So, keep stirring this liquid, keep stirring the water so that this sediment gets dissolved. You will be able to feel it with your hands. Why I'm asking you to dissolve this is because when you will immerse, so this is what I'm talking about. This is the sediment. Now, if you don't dissolve this sediment, what will happen is that there will be obstruction in the layering process of mordant on the fabric. Mordant अच्छे से register नहीं करेगा पूरे fabric पे, and there will be patches because जहाँ पे solid sediment लगेगा वहाँ पे आपका dye patch आ सकता है. So it's very important to dissolve this. And then, like I said, I will do this fan thing and slowly I will start putting it in water. Once you have immersed the complete fabric in water, Amba, can you help me with the what? Okay, I'll show you here. Yeah, that's good. आपको fabric को ऐसे खोलना भी पड़ेगा. You will have to open the fabric as well, so that mordant is, it has mordanted every inch of the fabric. Now mordants ke saath we do it in room temperature water, so it becomes easier to put your hands inside. But once you are dyeing, and you would ideally like to have some rubber gloves available with you so that this process can be done easier. But don't fret, if you don't have anything, you can use a stick or spoon or whatever and do this process. Now I'm going to leave it for like 5-10 minutes in here so that the mordant gets absorbed in this fabric. This is how I've kept it. I'm just going to keep it aside for 5-10 minutes. So that's how you will mordant your fabric. Okay. Now I'll set the gas. I'll start the gas here so that I can also start boiling my water for the dye stuff, because the next step that we are going to do is going to be about dyeing. Anybody is doing a dye along with us? If anybody is doing a dye along, let me know, because I am assuming that it's not a one-on-one session that's happening. Okay, I'll take a question here. Sangeeta is asking me, how is harad used? Okay, I'll show you what harad looks like. This is the harad powder. It comes in powdered format, very, very fine powder. What you do is take the required consistency in a bowl, in a big bowl, put some water in it, make a paste out of it, and then pour it in your dye bath. Why am I doing this? Because everybody must have used corn flour in their cooking sometime or the other. What corn flour does is it gets cluttered when if you pour it into your soup or in your gravy or anything. To make it easier, we dissolve it in water and then we put it in. So it's the same concept here. To avoid clumping of any dye of any material that we're going to use, we are going to first make a slurry out of it and then pour the slurry. It makes the process easier. Now, second point to consider when you're using harad is that micro granules will be there present at the end of your dye bath. Now, what micro granules do to your fabric? वो क्या करते हैं? वो छोटे-छोटे ना धब्बे बनाते हैं आपके fabric पे. Similar to what your gray fabric looks like. वो छोटे-छोटे seeds की तरह चिपक जाते हैं. इसमें problem क्या होता है? When you go into dyeing into any color, your dye will give you patches, and it will give you bigger patches if you're not sieving it. तो best thing is, आपने जब हरड़ को पानी में घोल दिया, उबलते हुए पानी में, when you have poured हरड़, stir it for some time, leave it on the stove to boil for 5-10 minutes, and then sieve the mixture. How will you sieve the mixture? इस तरह की सीव आती है, ये अगर थोड़ी मोटी पड़ती है आपको तो आप क्या कर सकते हो, इसके ऊपर कोई भी चीज क्लॉथ या कोई भी फैब्रिक रख के एंड देन यू कैन पोर द मिक्सचर ऑन इट, सो सारा डाई स्टफ यहाँ कलेक्ट हो जाएगा, एक्स्ट्रा डाई स्टफ, एंड बाकी यू विल गेट अ मिक्सचर ऑफ द वाटर. तो उसी तरीके से I have done with this fabric. I have sieved the hurried mixture and then I have put my fabric in it. Now what I will do is I will put my water to boil so that I can prepare it for dyeing. Any questions you might be having for till now about any processes that we have covered, anything? This is हरड, it is not खरड, it is हरड. हरडा बोलते हैं शायद बाकी लैंग्वेजेस में. This is called हरडा. माइरोबलन के नाम से मिलता है, बहुत ही कॉमन इंग्रेडिएंट है ये. आई थिंक आयुर्वेदा में भी यूज होता है टू क्योर सर्टेन डिजीजेस. इजिली अवेलेबल. आपके शहर में अगर कोई पुरानी परचून की दुकान है तो आपको वहां मिल जाएगा, नहीं तो जो नेचुरल डाइंग का काम करते हैं या नेचुरल डाइज रखते हैं उनके यहाँ मिल जाएगा. आप आयुर्वेदा शॉप्स पे भी पूछ सकते हो या आपको वहां भी मिल सकता है. Do we need to use alum and harad both? Yes, Sangeeta. So today what I'm going to be dyeing with is marigold. Marigold does not easily, the color will not come out. And secondly, why I'm using both is because I'm using a cellulosic fiber. मैं cotton use कर रही हूँ. तो cotton की affinity को बढ़ाने के लिए towards the dye, I have to use harda as a tannin and alum as a mordant. टैनिंग क्या काम करता है, मॉर्डेंट को सपोर्ट करता है डाइंग प्रोसेस के दौरान, क्योंकि अगर मैंने डायरेक्ट इसको डाई में डाल दिया बिना टैनिंग किए, इसको मैंने एलम में भिगोया और उसको डाई में डाल दिया, तो क्या होगा, जो कलर है वो कपड़े को चिपकेगा नहीं, इट विल नॉट स्टिक टू द फैब्रिक एंड आफ्टर फ्यू वॉशेस इट विल कम आउट. बट इसमें क्या है, यू विल यूज दिस. जब आप टैनिन करते हो तो टैनिन मॉर्डेंट के साथ कंबाइन होकर डाई के लिए एफिनिटी बढ़ा देता है, जिससे कि आप इसको अच्छे से डाई कर सकते हो, डाई की थोड़ी लॉन्जिटिविटी बढ़ जाती है. हाउ मच डू वी हैव टू बॉइल आफ्टर एडिंग एलम? ओके, एलम के पानी को हम बॉइल नहीं करते. पहली चीज, एलम का पानी जो भी होगा वो रूम टेम्परेचर का पानी होगा, उसमें आपको सिर्फ एलम घोलना है एंड सिर्फ ये देखना है कि नीचे सेडिमेंट्स फॉर्म नहीं हो, एलम अच्छे से घुल जाए. अगर घुलने में टाइम लग रहा है तो घोलने के बाद थोड़ी डिजायर्ड क्वांटिटी से थोड़ा सा ज्यादा लेके घोलने के बाद उस पानी को आप सीव कर लीजिए और ये क्लीन हो जाएगा. Sorry, we had some backend things. Okay, can I use natural dye on chiffon? Yes, you can, but it has to be pure chiffon. And chiffon falls under the category of highly twisted silk yarns. तो अभी हम silk के बारे में बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. Silk पे dye करने के लिए process is a little different, which perhaps we could take up in the next workshop. Today we are only going to be dyeing on cellulosic fibers. I think I have cleared your query, Nikita, regarding alum. Alum को boil नहीं करना है, room temperature पानी पे डाल के for 10 minutes you just have to leave it. Okay. Okay. Now I will tell you what we are dyeing with. We are today going to dye with marigold. This is how a marigold powder looks like. Marigold को powder form में फ्रेश फ्लावर्स के फॉर्म में और ड्राइड फ्लावर्स के फॉर्म में, आप हर फॉर्म में यूज कर सकते हो. I will give you a few tips on if you're dyeing with a flower form of marigold. You can collect a lot of marigold from your local temple, or if you've had any function at home, if you have leftover marigolds, or if you have access to dried marigolds. Now, when we are using a dye stuff in totality, अगर हम कोई particular plant या vegetable form में किसी dye stuff को use करते हैं, so very important for us is to soak the dye stuff in water overnight. Again 12 hours के लिए आपको उसको soak करके रखना पड़ेगा पानी में, ताकि जितना भी dye content है उस particular flower, petal, leaf, root, उसमें वो सारा water में extract होके आ जाए. तो सबसे पहले आपको, अच्छा इसके लिए क्या होता है, आप जो भी फैब्रिक लेते हो उसका आपने वजन कर लिया, ड्राई वेट ले लिया, उसके बाद आपको 200 या 300%, 200 to 300% ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर फ्लावर यू विल हैव टू यूज। सपोज अगर आप ड्राइड मैरीगोल्ड यूज कर रहे हो तो 300% आपको फैब्रिक वेट का लेना पड़ेगा। मतलब अगर ये मेरा फैब्रिक 100 ग्राम का है तो मुझे 300 ग्राम सूखे हुए मैरीगोल्ड के फूल चाहिए। रीजन बीइंग, डाई स्टफ का जो कंसिस्टेंसी ड्राइड चीजों में होता है वो कम होता है, मतलब उसको हमको एक्सट्रैक्ट करना पड़ता है और उसी से पाउडर्स एंड ये सारी चीजें बनती है। और क्योंकि हम उसको उसके ओरिजिनल फॉर्म में यूज कर रहे हैं, वी हैव टू यूज more for it, for the consistency to be there and for the strength to be there, इसलिए हमको 200 to 300% यूज करना पड़ता है। सेम इज इफ यू आर यूजिंग अनियन पील्स, अनियन पील्स को भी आपको रात भर पानी में भिगो के रखना पड़ेगा ताकि उसका सारा कलर आप निकाल सको। देन नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग में विदाउट चेंजिंग द यूटेंसिल, जिस पतीले में आपको डाई को गर्म करना है उसी पतीले में भिगो के रखिए। नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग पे जस्ट पुट दैट यूटेंसिल ऑन फायर and boil the dye for another 15 to 30 minutes so that whatever remnant of color is there in that particular dye stuff वो भी extract होके निकल आए। That's how we use dye stuff in original form। अगर आप पाउडर्स यूज कर रहे हो इस तरीके से then it makes no difference। आप आराम से पाउडर लाओ and then according to the weight of the fabric 5% 4% you can use this। I will talk about dye stuffs also with you, I'll tell you। So what happens is, what is so it's called depth of shade। depth of shade को हम relate करते हैं हमारे उस particular color से, मतलब हमको इस पे कौन सा color चढ़ाना है उसको हम depth of shade बोलेंगे। तो depth of shade का जो calculation जो मैंने बताया आप वैसे कर सकते हो। according to the weight of your fabric you can take out how much dye stuff you need। अब अगर आपको लाइटर स्ट्रेंथ चाहिए, आपको कम कलर चाहिए, आपको लाइट कलर्स चाहिए, तो आप 0.5% से 1% तक जा सकते हो फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर डाई स्टफ। अगर आपको मीडियम टोन्स चाहिए तो 2% से 4% तक आप डाई स्टफ यूज कर सकते हो। एंड इफ यू नीड स्ट्रॉन्गर कलर्स, डार्कर कलर्स, देन यू कैन गो अप टू 10% ऑफ द डाई स्टफ एज वेल। अब सिंस नेचुरल डाई में देयर इज नो पर्टिकुलर रेसिपीज अवेलेबल कि इस पर्टिकुलर कलर के लिए हमको ये पर्टिकुलर रेसिपीज हर डाई की रेसिपीज अलग अलग होती है, तो वो रेसिपीज आपको फॉर्मुलेट करनी पड़ेगी कि अकॉर्डिंग टू द कलर यू वांट ऑन द फैब्रिक। और मैंने आपको जो ये रेशियोज बताए हैं इसके अकॉर्डिंग आप डाई स्टफ को आगे पीछे करके यूज कर सकते हो अकॉर्डिंग टू द वेट ऑफ योर फाइबर। Okay, Soumya is asking me in what ratio it should be soaked overnight। Soumya, are you talking about the scouring process or you're talking about the dye stuff? If you're talking about the dye stuff, Soumya, then the ratio is always 1:20। 1 किलो के लिए 20 लीटर्स पानी का यूज करते हैं हम। That ratio is standard। आप कहीं भी पानी का उपयोग करेंगे in throughout the entire process आपका रेशियो वही रहेगा 1:20 का। Harad, then any substitute if I want to dye with onion peel। So अगर आप onion peel से dye कर रहे हो you don't need a tannin। onion peels में organically tannin मौजूद होता है and उसके लिए आपको हरड़ा की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। अगर आप टर्मरिक से डाई कर रहे हो, हम में से बहुत सारे लोग अभी घर जाके टर्मरिक से ही डाई करने वाले हैं, तो आई विल टेल यू वन वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट अबाउट टर्मरिक। टर्मरिक इज कॉल्ड एज अ ल्यूक्रेटिव डाई, सॉरी अ फ्यूजिटिव डाई, सॉरी नॉट अ ल्यूक्रेटिव, फ्यूजिटिव डाई। फ्यूजिटिव डाई इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि आप उसके कुछ भी कर लो आफ्टर अ पॉइंट, बिकॉज इट्स सो लाइट रेजिस्टेंस, लाइक इतना कम उसका कलर एब्जॉर्बेंसी रहता है और सस्टेन कम करता है वो फैब्रिक में, वो धीरे धीरे कलर छोड़ेगा। That's why any dyer who is doing natural dyeing do not rely on turmeric for yellows, because उसका येलो कभी भी लॉन्ग रन के लिए वैसा नहीं रहता है और फिक्सिंग वगैरह का बहुत सारा काम करना पड़ता है उसके ऊपर, तो टर्मरिक जनरली यूज नहीं करते। हाँ, अगर आप अपने लिए यूज कर रहे हो, घर के लिए यूज कर रहे हो, देन प्लीज गो अहेड, बट प्लीज यूज हरडा। हरडा के अलावा गॉलनट आता है या भेड़ा आता है। नॉर्दर्न रीजन्स में भेड़ा आपको कम ही मिलेगा, हरडा आपको ज्यादा मिलेगा। एंड हरडा इज इजिली अवेलेबल इन परचून की दुकान या फिर किसी आयुर्वेदा स्टोर पे या फिर जो भी नेचुरल डाइंग करते हैं उनके स्टोर पे। सो आई डोंट थिंक इट शुड बी अ प्रॉब्लम। And apart from Halda, at the moment, there is no solution for tanning, which I can tell you. So yes, Halda is important. I hope everybody is clear till the dyes, the weights of the dye and how we have to use it. Should we dye the cloth after using Halda? Yes, so Halda, जो process हम Halda का करते हैं उसको Mordanting बोलते हैं. Mordanting is a step prior to dyeing. Mordanting क्या करता है? आपके कपड़े की affinity बढ़ाता है towards dye. Cellulosic fibers have very poor affinity towards natural dyes. इसलिए क्या करते हैं? हम उनको mordant करते हैं ताकि उनकी चाहत बढ़ सके हमारे natural colors के लिए. तो इसलिए we do mordant, and mordant we do with Halda. Halda will give you, lovely yellows and deeper shades and stuff like that. Should we dry the cloth after using Halda? Sorry. So drying is something, yes, you can do after every process. If you are drying your fabric, then you dry it in shade. You don't dry it in direct sunlight. And before introduction in dye bath or any process, you have to wet your fabric. ड्राई फैब्रिक को कभी भी डाई बाथ्स में इंट्रोड्यूस मत करिएगा, बिकॉज क्या होता है जब आप ड्राई फैब्रिक को इंट्रोड्यूस करते हो उसकी कलर सोखने की जो कैपेसिटी होती है वो कम होती है, तो वो धीरे धीरे कलर्स एब्जॉर्ब करता है, व्हिच गिव्स यू पैचीनेस. So before introduction to dye bath, it's always advisable to wet your fabrics, like damp your fabrics, not exactly wet your fabrics. Okay, so I'll move on with dyeing now. I have marigold with me, like I told you. I will measure it. So right now 68 grams of fabric I have. I am going to use around 14 to 20 grams of this dye. And I am going to put it here. I'm just going to take a bigger pinch again. That's it. Now, when you introduce your dyes in your color bath, make sure to stir them properly. And I'm just going to let them simmer. Make sure there are no lumps, because the lump will ultimately affect the quality of your dye. One very important thing I'm going to tell you here is that a lot of us will go back and go to our kitchen to dye. And a lot of smaller things like, scale hai, pH paper hai, ये सारी चीजें हमें available नहीं होती हैं. So don't fret. Please, बिल्कुल भी इससे घबराइए मत, because natural dye is also more about, cooking. तो कुकिंग में जैसे अंदाजा चलता है ना, आप नेचुरल डाई में भी अंदाजा यूज कर सकते हो. इफ यू आर जस्ट अ हॉबी डाइंग पर्सन, जस्ट डूइंग इट एज अ हॉबी, बिकॉज उसमें आपको मेजरमेंट्स की और इसकी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, आप अंदाजे से भी कलर डाल सकते हो. एंड व्हेन यू डाई, एंड इफ यू डाई ऑफन एट होम, यू विल रियलाइज आफ्टर अ पॉइंट कि ये डाई में इतना डालूंगी तो ये कलर निकल के आ ही जाएगा. सो दैट इज द थिंग. So this is how. So I'm just going to keep it here. You can see the color, the yellow color that has come here. Any questions for me? Achha, so the yellow flower powder is marigold powder. Marigold aapko, Jaipur mein we have shops where they sell natural dyes. They sell the powder of natural dyes, so we get it from there. I'm sure आप जिस city में हो वहाँ पे भी shops होंगे. How long do we heat the dye? So we bring it to a boil. We bring it to a boil, and then we immediately will immerse the fabric into it, because then the fabric and the dye will be, boiled together for 30 to 40 minutes. it's already, you know, starting to boil here. Just going to get it to a boil now. Any questions for me? Please tell some natural items available, easily to get natural colors, like which color we get from onion peels. Okay, onion peels will give you a brown color. Yes, contrary to the popular belief, onion skins look pink, but they give you a brown color. I'll show you an example. I'll show you what it looks like. So I do have some. So this is what onion peels look like. Don't go by the patchiness of it. I did it at home. This is what color it gives you. I will show you other as well. This is कत्था, अगर आप लोगों ने सुना हो, जिसको कैटिचू भी बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में. This is the color of कत्था. It's a light reddish brown color that it gives. And this is from eucalyptus bark. So eucalyptus bark को dye करने के लिए we soak the bark overnight in plain water, and then in the morning transferred that water into a heavy deep bottom vessel and boiled it for some time to extract more color, then sieved it, and then, you know, started our dyeing. The process remains the same. My dye is boiling here. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay. So what I was saying was, I boiled this. It has come to a certain temperature. I'm just going to sieve this now. I'll show you how to sieve it. My regular sieve and my fabric. Now I will tell you what I refer to as, you see this spot here. This is the dye stuff. So we need to get the dye stuff out before we go for dyeing the actual fabric. I will show you the contents of this dye bath at the end to show you how much dye stuff, you know, floats on the surface, which needs to be removed before you immerse your fabric. Okay. another round of stirring. For stirring right now, I'm using a wooden stick. You can use any of your kitchen utensils. Okay. Also, one more thing I'd like to mention here: when you're dyeing in your kitchen, use clean stainless steel utensils. Why stainless steel? Because it does not react with any sort of dyes or any sort of soda ash or anything that you're going to be putting during the process. And it's the most non-reactive metal available to us, and that's why we use it. And if you're going to be dyeing on a regular basis, please separate your pots, because long run may you will be using other sorts of dyes as well. And it's always good to have your utensils separate. But if you're doing it just one time or two times, you can use your regular utensils. You can also use glass. I do not recommend using plastic because we do a lot of boiling, which is not suitable for plastic containers. So this is the last lot. I'm just going to sieve this. So when you are using onion peels and you soak them and you boil them, you again sieve them, because you need to take out all the onion skins, and then you will be left over with a lovely dye bath, the colored dye bath, which you can again put on boil and continue to dye as we will do right now. Second thing, a lot of you might think that we have put 20 liters of water and it might reduce during the while we are boiling it and doing things with it. It's okay if a little bit of water reduces also, because at the end of it you will put your fabric, immerse your fabric in it and dye. If there is a little reduction, don't worry, you can add a little bit of water from the top. Just don't add too much water so that it dilutes the effect of the dye bath. I am speeding through this process. I haven't boiled the dye for 15-20 minutes because we have to show you what the colors look like. But when you're doing it at home and using any dye stuff, please do boil it for 15-20 minutes before sieving so that the extraction can happen. Even if you want to do it for 30 minutes, that's also okay. Tea leaves is another great example. You can use tea leaves as well. It's again the same thing, boil it, and if you're using tea leaves, then you don't need any sort of mordanting, because it's tannin actually. You don't need tanning because tannin is already present in tea leaves. Okay, now I will show you what is left over after. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is all the extra dye stuff that has come out. And if I do not sieve it, it is going to form a layer on my fabric, which is not good for me. Okay, now I'm just going to put this back on the stove after sieving. Just see the lovely yellow this has formed. I'll do it from here, the pouring. You see the lovely yellow this has formed. We are now going to boil it further. I'll start my stove. Damp fabric. This is mordanted fabric, mordanted with alum. And now I'm going to immerse this in water. Same fan technique. Make a fan and slowly start emerging. Please be very careful. I'll show you. See, this is the color. This is the color that is coming out. a very pale yellow at the moment. We are going to boil it. Use a stick to immerse the fabric. Open the fabric while you're doing it. I'll show it to you again. See, this is Harda, and the color at the end you see is marigold. Slowly immerse all of the fabric, right? And with whatever, like your weapon of choice, whatever you're using, you can just slightly, lightly open the fabric in the dye bath. And please do this step, because what happens is when we are doing dyeing in smaller vessels, especially at home, there is a highly highly possibility of the patchiness that will come in the fabric because it is not opened properly. So there will be sections where the dye will get in contact with the fabric. There will be sections where the dye will come in contact with the fabric through the other layer of the fabric. So that will result in patchiness. Right, I'll just lift it one more time to show you the color it's getting. See, this is the color. This water is going to be very hot, so please do not put your hands inside it. It's almost 90 degrees right now. And I am increasing the temperature because I need the fabric and the dye to boil together so that the colors that come, the more colors come, the fabric gets more color actually. So I'm going to be doing this. Now, this is the step where you can, leave the fabric for 5-10 minutes in the dye bath. Roam around, have some tea, have some coffee, and, return to it. Again, stir it so that it doesn't, scorch the bottom. And yeah, so this is a lovely yellow that I'm getting right now. I hope you guys are able to see a glimpse of it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here now. And now we can look at some questions that you might have for me. How much time do I boil the fabric in onion peel dye stuff? Any fabric that you are dyeing in any natural color, you can boil for around 30 to 40 minutes. So that's like the minimum time you need. There are certain people who, like, when I first did my experiment with the tea, I boiled the fabric for an hour, then left the fabric in the tea solution overnight, and then next day washed it off with fabric. And yeah, it gave me a very beautiful color, but since it was not mordanted with alum, the color did not stay on for a very long time. Shrisha, why are you sending me your email ID? I don't know. The heat right now, which I'm doing it on induction, so I can tell you the heat that I'm doing this at. It's 200 degrees centigrade at the moment. Just for your FYI, I need to get it to a boiling point. Okay. Okay, going back to scouring, I want to mention a very important point to you guys. When you are handling soda ash, please be very careful, because as soon as you mix it with water, it becomes hot. So do not do it near children, near pets. And even when you are handling it, if you want to wear gloves, please do wear gloves. Do not touch it directly because it's going to be very hot. Soda ash is something which is used in making of soaps and washing detergents. So it's not a very good thing. Okay, so this is coming to a boil now. I'm going to be keep stirring it. Okay. Regarding scouring, instead of soaking your fabrics in water, if you don't want to soak your fabrics in water overnight, what you can also do is machine wash them in a hot in the hot setting. The hottest your machine has, you can wash them in that. run a bigger cycle, 2.5 or 3 hour cycle, so that it absorbs water, it soaks water. And if your machine has a soaking feature, please do use it. If you don't want to soak the fabrics and keep them overnight, it's an alternate. Another thing is, if you don't want to soak the fabrics, I would suggest go for RFD fabrics. But use RFD fabrics in your second trial. In your first trial, I would suggest using using something which is not RFD, which is a gray, so that you learn the process and you learn the difficulties you face along the process. It's very important to know the process before you play around with it. You know the rules, then only you break them. Okay. No, so I haven't used soda ash today because the process again was a 30-minute, 45-minute process. So I had done it beforehand. What I did was, I'll repeat it for you again. I will. So what I did was, I took water, again the same container, because my fabric is not 1 kg. It is 68 grams to be precise. So what I did was, I filled this particular utensil with water. I boiled the water. I took soda ash in a separate glass container, dissolved it in water, and then switched off the gas and then poured the soda ash into the water. And similarly, I did with liquid soap. I poured the liquid soap again, mixed it thoroughly, and then I put my fabric in it. Once I put my fabric in it, boiled it for 5-10 minutes, and then switched off the gas and left the fabric in the water for another 30 minutes. So in totality, I think I took around 45 minutes to do the complete process. Once I took the fabric out of the soda ash and soap solution, I washed it thoroughly under cold water to get out of any residue which is remnant of soda ash or pH neutral soap. And then my fabric was ready for the next step, which was tanning. How long do we heat the scouring process? We do not heat, like, you can put it on heat for 10-15 minutes, 5-10 minutes, boil it, get it to a boil, and then just put it off the gas. What does soda ash look like? Okay. I don't have it here with me. If you give me 1 second, I'll get it for you. I'm so sorry. I keep muting myself and forgetting it. This is what soda ash looks like. Thank you so much, everyone, for reminding me that. I completely forget every time. This is what, it's a powdery substance. I'm not going to touch it with my hands right now because it's a little irritating to touch it with bare hands. You can definitely use a spoon, wooden spoon, stainless steel spoon, absolutely works. Be very mindful of using it near kids or pets or anybody who has skin sensitivity issues. It is basically used in scouring, and this we will also use in our dye bath right now. After some time, I'll also put some of it. This also helps in raising the pH level of the dye bath and providing suitable conditions to the color to get more attached to the fabric. Okay, so this is it. You can easily find soda ash in any of the local grocery stores who specialize in keeping local stuff, you know, or very very local stuff that they keep. Mainly you find such shops in the heart of the city. In Jaipur, we find it in Kishan Pol Bazaar and, you know, inside the walled city actually. We have shops who produce their own soda ash. So we just buy a packet. It usually comes in a kilo and is used heavily in the soap making industry. Okay. Any questions anybody has regarding any of the processes that we've just went through? I can take questions right now. Okay, Sangeeta wants to know, can we use Nastrium flowers for yellow color? Can you tell me the Hindi name for this, Sangeeta? I don't know the name of the flower. Yes, definitely. We'll give you all the ratios. If you want, I can start with the ratios right now, so you can, you know, get your paper and pen ready. Please share all the recipes in PDF format. Can you see I'm doing along with onion peel? No, Renu, I cannot see. It's very dark. Yeah. Now I can see. Renu, have you sieved your dye bath? Have you sieved your dye bath, Renu? Okay. Ma'am, I bought 500 grams of soda ash today. This one process is so lengthy. Is there any other use? I am afraid I will not be able to provide you any other uses of soda ash other than their use in dyeing right now. Don't worry, it's not a very expensive material. And even if you keep it airtight in a container, next time when you dye, you can use the same soda ash. So it's a very, very useful solution. Chats from here, yeah, okay. Okay, great, Renu. I would love to see your close up. You know, it's so far away right now that wait, let me just zoom into your screen to see. Oh, nice, very nice. Very, very nice. You've got a lovely shade there, Renu. Love this. So tell me, Renu, did you do the scouring and mordanting and tanning before? Sorry, scouring and mordanting. Tanning is not required. I'm unmuting you. I've unmuted you, Renu, so we can speak now. Renu, we can't hear you. Renu, we can't hear you. Renu, if you could just unmute yourself for me, please. She's unmuted. I can't hear her. It's a lovely shade that you've got. I'm so, like, you know, really thrilled to see your. Is there a problem from our end, or we can't hear you, Renu? Can you, like, put the volume up, or? Renu, Ujwala wants to know what color was the fabric you used to start with. I think it was a RFD fabric, Renu, that you used. It's a lovely brown that you've got, Renu. I must appreciate your efforts here. I still can't hear you, but that's okay. I guess I'm seeing the colors that you've got. It's amazing. Okay. Sangeeta, yes, you can use Tesu flowers. Again, please bear in mind the ratio. You will have to use 200 to 300% of that flour. That means in grams, it means 200 to 300 grams of that particular flower. The more dye stuff you use, the more color you will get. And before you directly use the Tesu flowers, I suggest you just keep them in water for some time, you know, like overnight, 12 hours in water. And the next day, take the entire content in a vessel, boil it for 15-20 minutes, sieve the contents, and then use your dye bath. And I would love to see the color that you have got with Tesu flowers. So please do share us. Please do tag us when you share such experiments with us. Moving forward, it has been boiling for quite some time. Coming back to my dye bath, it has been boiling for some time. What I will now do is I will take 2% of soda ash, like I told you. I'm not going to be using my hands here. I need some container to dissolve it. Glass भी चलेगा. Okay. We are also going to post mordant the fabric. हम इस पे वापस से alum की एक layer चढ़ाएंगे. इसके लिए what I will do is I will soak 1% of alum, which is roughly around 1 gram, 0.68 grams आता है. So I think that doesn't make any sense. So I will be using a little bit of alum. Again, this is my water solution. Normal room temperature water, tap water, and some alum in it. Dissolve it and keep it aside. That's it. That's all I do. Okay. Keep stirring. If your dye bath is boiling, please ensure to keep stirring the fabric so that there are no lumps formed or there are no patches formed in the fabric. That's very important. Okay. I will tell you guys how to use the soda ash now. I've taken a glass with me and a spoonful of soda ash is what I'm going to take. So technically, when you're putting soda ash in your dye bath, it should not be more than 2%, which is like 2 grams if 100 grams is the weight of your fabric. Just going to take a spoon and I'm going to take some regular water. Be very careful and dissolve it. To make a clear solution, it's going to be a little hot, so do not touch it directly with your hands. Be very careful of that. Okay. Ujjwala, no, this gives a yellowish tint. Marigold gives a yellowish tint. I am now, what I'm going to do now, how you will introduce something in your dye bath is very important also. Do not introduce anything directly over the fabric. It will spot your fabric. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push this aside, my fabric, or good enough to pick it up completely like this and introduce the soda ash. Right? Soda ash makes the pH level of the water a little alkaline, which gives a deeper shade of any color that you are using. So the color right now that you see a little yellow will go towards the brownish this thing. So Ujjwala, we will come to your question now. Now you will see a hue of brown when I will show the fabric to you. It has added a little orangish brown tone to the fabric. Adding soda ash also brightens the color a little bit. And I suggest adding soda ash because it also raises the alkalinity of your water, the pH of your water, which is good for cellulosic fibers, which is good for cotton, hemp, banana, coconut, orange, all these fibers. Now see, this, what you see here is the marigold color. right? So this is what we do. Now the another step is adding common salt. Common salt again 10 grams per 100 grams, which is like 10% of this thing. Sorry, 5%. Sorry, 5% to 10%. So I'm going ahead with 2 to 5% because I do not have that much of water, and my weight of the fabric is also not very this thing. Common salt. That's it. Before immersing your fabric, please stir your dye bath. Do not immerse anything in your dye bath before stirring it. Addition of any new element requires stirring of your dye bath. बिना dye bath को हिलाए आप आगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे. Immerse your fabric. Open up your fabric. So like the temperatures are very high right now. So it's good if you have rubber gloves with you, so you can actually immerse your hands in your dye bath. If you don't have rubber gloves, just try and pick the edges of the fabric and re-immerse them in water. Open it and re-immerse them in water. We do this step so that the dye is evenly absorbed in the fabric. Cellulosic fibers in general are a little hard to work with because dye affinity nahi hoti hai inme. They do not react well to dyes, इसलिए cotton पे आप देखोगे color जल्दी fade भी होता है. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it now. Okay, another thing, I introduced soda ash and salt at the end of the 10 minutes. So अगर हम 40 मिनट के लिए डाई बाथ को बना रहे हैं, अगर हमको अपना कलर 40 मिनट के लिए रखना है और उबालना है, तो लास्ट के जो 10 मिनट होंगे, which means exactly after 30 minutes you will introduce soda ash and salt into your dye bath and let your fabric simmer in that solution for next 10 minutes. That is towards the end of the dye bath. 1 घंटे से ज्यादा किसी भी कलर को आप मत रखना, क्योंकि इससे ज्यादा रखने का कोई फायदा भी नहीं है. जितना कलर चढ़ना होता है वो चढ़ चुका होता है. I will tell you why I am saying this. Okay, what happens is आपका जो भी कपड़ा होता है उसका ताना बाना होता है, राइट? सबको ये चीज बेसिक पता होगा. हर कपड़े का ताना बाना होता है जिसको मिला के हमारा वीव तैयार होता है, कपड़ा तैयार होता है. ठीक है. अब जब हम स्काउरिंग करते हैं किसी भी कपड़े की, तो क्या होता है, जितने भी धागे होते हैं वो बहुत सारा पानी सोख लेते हैं. जितना पानी सोखते हैं वो उतना स्वेल अप करते हैं, उतना उनकी कैपेसिटी बढ़ती है डाई को अब्सॉर्ब करने की. Hence, we do the scouring process, and hence the scouring process is so important. अब जब आप स्काउरिंग कर लेते हो और ये yarns फूल जाते हैं और इनमें अब्सॉर्ब करने की कैपेसिटी बढ़ जाती है, तब हम क्या करते हैं, तब हम जो भी इनके ऊपर डाई चढ़ाना चाहते हैं वो ये इसको पी जाते हैं. ठीक है. आफ्टर अ पॉइंट हर फाइबर की कैपेसिटी होती है डाई को पीने की. उस कैपेसिटी के बाद आप डाई को कितना, आप उस फैब्रिक के ऊपर कितना भी डाई चढ़ाओगे, आपको वो फैब्रिक वो डाई पिएगा ही नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि उसकी जितनी क्षमता थी डाई पीने की वो पी चुका है. उसके ऊपर से जितना भी कलर चढ़ेगा वो आपकी फर्स्ट वॉश, सेकंड वॉश, थर्ड वॉश में निकलता रहेगा. वही कलर नहीं निकलेगा जो उसने पिया नहीं है. I'll repeat this in English. Why do we do scouring of a fabric? So any fabric that is made is made using a warp and a weft. Is made using a weaving technique which involves warp and a weft. So if this is my warp, this is my weft, this is how the fabric gets woven. ये weave structure बनता है उसका और fabric बनता है. उसके बाद जब fabric बन जाता है, उसके बाद उसके जो भी structure है वो बहुत compact होता है. जब हम उसका when we do the scouring process of that fabric, the yarns swell up and they absorb water within themselves. They swell up and absorb a lot of water. So there is a capacity to absorbing. Once you have done that, you have prepared your fabric for dyeing. And when this process has been done, your fabric is ready to dye. That is why RFD fabrics do not require heavy scouring, or they do not require such processes of scouring, because mill mein wo process they have already done. Now when this is done, then if you immerse your fabric in any sort of dye, the fibers will absorb that dye within themselves. It is like when we eat. When we eat to our heart's content, there comes a point where we cannot eat any further. That's the same case with these fabrics also. They will absorb as much dye as they can, and then after a point, they will not absorb any dye. All that dye will sit on the surface of the fabric. So when you wash your fabric, all that extra dye will come out. Now, how many of you have purchased indigo fabrics in your lifetime or ever from anywhere? Not just fabric load, from anywhere. How many people have done that? Can I get a thumbs up, a yes or no? So I'll tell you why your indigos bleed. I have. Okay. I've got one response. Yes. Oh, so many of you. Okay. So what happens is indigo mein kya hota hai? Indigo is not a dye, it's a pigment. Okay. So what happens is if whatever bleeds out of indigo, it's actually the dye that sits on the surface of the fabric. And every time you wash the fabric, some of that dye comes out. So ideally, an indigo dye jo banta hai, but whenever we make the indigo dye, whenever we dye a fabric in indigo, the vat is not boiled like how we are doing it now. The vat is at a particular temperature. And that is why when, indigo, that is why in indigo, especially with indigo, scouring, it becomes so important. And when some of us miss that step, when we miss the scouring step, and we, take it lightly, we do not follow the entire process through, we tend to make the fabric resistant towards taking or absorbing a lot of dye. And hence the color bleeds, and hence indigo bleeds. So any indigo that would be, expensive or comes at a certain price point, they do not bleed. Why? Because it has been scoured a lot, right? Okay, I'll just take few questions before I move forward, and I let this boil for another 5 minutes, and then we'll be done with this. Okay, so Ujjwala had a question. Can this dye bath be reused? Yes, Ujjwala, you can reuse the dye bath, but you will have to introduce a little bit of color in it again. So color according to the weight of your fabric will be reintroduced into this. Wow, Renuji has dyed a white color kurta. Renuji, we'd love to see it, so please do send us pictures. Why do we add salt? So salt actually adds as a fixator. And when we do this during the dye bath, it actually makes the color a little bit more color fast. Rather than doing it, in cold water and doing it after, we do this process here itself. That's why we add salt. Okay. Renuji has a question. Do I also have to use soda ash? But right now I don't have it. Renuji, you can skip it for now. If you don't have soda ash, you can skip it for now. You can add salt. Just increase the quantity of salt according to the dry weight of your kurta, and you're good to go. Okay. What about repeated dips for stronger colors? So now, okay, dye bath will give you stronger color if you increase the consistency, like increase the percentage of it. So suppose if you want a stronger color, now if I want a stronger color than this, I will have to go for 10 or 15% of this color. Like, per 100 grams, I will have to use the color Zada. We'll have to use more color to get a stronger dip. And also after a point, because it is a cellulosic fiber, after a point, the absorbency will not allow the fabric to take any more further dyes. But yes, if you want a stronger color or a deeper color, just increase the percentage, go up to 10%, 15%, or maximum 20% also. If you're using powdered color, if you're using natural extracts like onion skin or a flower or anything, then 300 to 400%. Then you'll increase the percentage, and that will be much more. Okay. Please let us know which flower and other things we can use for color. Okay, Amisha, we can use onion skin, we can use tea leaves, you can use walnut skins. Walnut skins matlab wo jo akhroot ka bahar ka tukda aata hai, the shell, the walnut shell. Actually, you can use walnut shell. You can use eucalyptus leaves, you can use eucalyptus bark, you can use chai, ghar pe jo chai ki patti aati hai, you can use almond skins. You can use red cabbage jo aajkal market mein aati hai, you can use red cabbage. It's infinite, like, use it and you will get to know. After giving, okay, Renuji again has a question. After giving a dye bath, do I have to give some other process so that the color does? Yes, absolutely. I'm coming to that process now. This is done. I think I'm just going to take this out. Okay. Now, before I go to this process, I just like to tell you one. After switching off the gas, you can leave this fabric in your dye bath for another 10-15 minutes. That's absolutely okay. 30 to 40 minutes is when it's on the gas stove. After 30 to 40 minutes, if you want to leave this fabric in your dye bath, you can do that. Okay. Now, it's very, very hot right now. You can see the color. It's from orange, it has gone towards a little bit of a brown. Okay. Now, after this, you will have to wash this fabric in running water. Why do we need to wash this in running water? So that whatever extra dye is there on the surface will come out. And hence we need to wash it. We don't have the time, so I'm not going to, immerse it in cold water or take out any extra dye, but you guys do that because it's very important. All the extra dye that is there on the surface of this fabric needs to come out before we remordant it. Remordanting it, which means it's the final step. I'm just going to squeeze out any extra dye, but you have to wash it. So when you're doing it at home, please wash it in regular fabric. In regular water with alum. This water that I have here with me has 1% weight of fabric of alum. 68 grams के according मैंने 0.68 grams यानी या फिर 1 ग्राम alum इस पानी में already भिगो के रखा हुआ है. उसमें मैं I will immerse this so that it gets mordanted. This is called post mordanting. After after you have dyed and washed your fabric, this is called post-mortem. Okay. Now, when you take out the fabric from your dye bath, it will be of a certain color. But when you wash it, all the extra dye stuff will run out and you will feel that, oh, ye to color change ho gaya. But that's but natural. That's supposed to happen. Additional color is supposed to come out. Now, I'll show you. See, from bright orange, it has come to this orange. See, you see the difference? So please don't get disheartened. Whatever cotton could absorb, it has already absorbed. And now I'm just going to immerse this in alum and I'm going to leave it for another 10 minutes so that alum gets attached to the fabric. Okay. So that's the end of my dyeing. इसके बाद और कोई process नहीं है. Alum से निकालने के बाद post taking it out of the alum bath, you just need to wash it in plain water. Ideally, wash it 3 to 4 times so that whatever excess color is there on the surface of this comes out and nothing comes out while you wash the fabric after wearing. So ideally 3 to 4 times. But agar color nikalta hi ja raha hai, the color is continuously coming out, then 6 to 7 washes. But I think if you do all the processes in entirety and you do it properly, color bleeding will not happen that much. I am going to start taking questions now and then I will give you the 3 important recipes. Okay. I have tried indigo but made a mess as it was my first attempt. So Ujjwala, don't worry, it's a mess always. Every time we do something, there is a mess, but you don't get scared of the mess. For indigo, I was told to dry and reintroduce damped fabric a second or third time for darker shades. This is not correct. It's absolutely correct. If you dry the fabric, so what happens with indigo? Indigo oxidizes with oxygen present in the air and then it develops a color. So when you will dip it in the dye bath, it will look green to you, but when you take it out, when it oxidizes, it will give you a richer blue color. And that is why we always tell people to dry the fabric and then reintroduce in the bath so that pehla color fix ho jaye. The first color gets fixed. And then when you introduce it to the second color, you get a deeper shade of it. If you continue to do it with, with the same intensity and without any intervals, you will not get the desired shades. Yes, beetroot does give a very good color, Sangeeta. Please do try and let us know. Yeah, it's actually a walnut hull. Yes, I'm sorry, I used the wrong word. Thank you so much, Kritika, for the comment. What's Elam? I mean, from where it will be available? I don't know, Amisha. What is Elam and what do you mean by this? If you can elaborate and let me know. And the last question we have from Sohini is, what if we do not get hard water for madder dyes? It's very easy. You can make your water hard by introducing some chalk into it. Chalk ka powder introduce kar sakte ho, ya fir you can introduce some antacids to it and you can definitely make it hard water. Recipes, I can share it with you. Alum, what's alum? I mean fitkari. Amisha, it's called fitkari. Fitkari in Gujarati, fitkari in Hindi, alum in English. It's a compound, naturally occurring compound. It doesn't come in a powdered form. It comes in rock forms. It looks like salt rocks, and you have to hand pound it to get it into a powder consistency. Please do not use your mixers to pound alum, otherwise you will break your mixers. Okay. Okay, now please get your pen and paper ready. I'm just going to quickly give you all the 3 recipes for scouring, mordanting, tanning, as well as for dyeing. I'll start with the first recipe, which is the scouring recipe or the washing recipe. So I'm giving you the recipe for 1 kg of fabric or fiber weight. And accordingly, I will be giving you the percentages. So if you have 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams. So if you have something which is less than a kg, please convert it and use it. So if you have a 1 kg or 1000 grams of yarn or fabric, you would need 2% of soda ash. You would need 4% of neutral soap, and you will need 20 liters of water. Now, in a vessel, bring water to boil. Introduce soda ash. I have already told you how to mix soda ash with water beforehand. So take warm water from your bath, introduce it into the dry soda ash, mix it, form a slurry, introduce that slurry into the warm water or the hot water. Please be very careful while using soda ash. Similarly, introduce the soap into it. If you're using aritha ka powder or anything, please dissolve the powder beforehand. Or if you're using any pH neutral soap, which is more like, in liquid form or something, you can just like that introduce it into your bath. Once this water is coming to a boiling stage, you introduce your fabric into it, and then let the fabric be in it for 30 to 60 minutes. Now, once the water comes to boil, you can switch off the gas and then leave the fabric in that solution, in that boiling and then warm solution for 30 to 60 minutes. It will make the fabric clear of all impurities. The second recipe that I have is of tannin. Tannin may, again, if 1 kg of yarn or fabric you have, you will use 15 to 20% of harda, and you will use 20 liters of boiling water. Same thing, put the boiling water and introduce harda in a slurry form. Immerse your fabrics. You can leave this for, I think for 1 hour, not on gas, of course, not on gas. But for tannin recipe, you can definitely leave your fabric in the tannin solution for 1 hour. Okay, then we come to the dyeing recipe. Today we dyed with marigold, so I'm going to give you a recipe for marigold. Again, yarn or fabric is 1 kg. Marigold flowers, if somebody is using fresh flowers, then it would be 300% of the fabric weight. If you're using dry flowers, it will be 200% of the fabric weight. If you're using powder like this, then it would be 10%, 5% or 10% of the fabric weight. Then you need salt, which is 5% of the fabric weight. You will need water, which is 20 liters. Soda ash, you will need 2% of the fabric weight. And alum, which is a mordant. So for pre-mordanting, you would need 10% of alum, and for post-mordanting, you would need 1% of alum. Now, how will you go about it? Very easy. Put water to boil. Once the water comes to that consistency, introduce your powder or your flour, or introduce your powder to it. Of course, make a slurry of the powder and then introduce it so that there are no lumps. Bring it to boil. Once it comes to boil, strain it so that it's devoured of any small particles of the dye. After straining it, reboil the water, introduce your fabric, put the fabric on boil, do it for 30 minutes. You can leave, after 30 minutes, you can switch off the gas and leave the fabric in your dye bath. After taking it out of the dye bath, clean it with fresh water, then introduce it in another fabric of, in another solution of alum. Now, how you will pre-mordant the fabric is take normal water, introduce 10% of alum, pre-mordant the fabric, and then introduce it to the dye bath. Post-mordanting, wash the fabric, wash the dyed fabric, then introduce it in plain water, which has 1% of alum, and then again wash it in running water to take out any extra color, and then you're done. So these are the recipes. Just a little bit of tips and tricks I want to give you before you get onto this journey. First is measuring. Please do measure each and every ingredient if you want to create your own recipes. If you're just doing it out of hobby, then andas se, with your experience, you can do it. That's not a problem. Second most important thing is always use damp fabric. Do not introduce any dry fabric to your dye baths, because that will hamper the consistency of dye and the absorption of dyes on the fabric. Always cover your fabrics, always wash, pre-wash, wash your fabrics properly. Otherwise, again, dyeing will hinder the dyeing process, extract the absorption of dyes on the fabric. Mordanting, again, a very important step. Please do not omit this step. If you don't have alum, please purchase alum and keep alum if you're going to be regularly dyeing, because this will help create a layer on your fabric which will protect the dyes from rubbing off very easily. Always use a sieve, like I told you. Sieving your mixture is very important because it will, get rid of any residues. And sieving is all the more important if you're using absolute forms like, fresh flowers, seeds, barks, anything. Okay, soda ash, I've already told you, please dissolve it in water and then use it, and be very careful with children around you and pets around you. Yeah, and if you want, you can start keeping a dye journal where you can, keep documenting the processes that you do. And if you later on want to do it professionally, this dye journal will come in very handy to you and will help you do everything, connect to whatever you have done up till now and form more recipes for your future. I think, yes, that's from my side for today. The session went on for a little longer than I expected. Can you also share the recipe of hard water? I will share the recipe of hard water in the PDF that I will share with you. I will give you the things that you can add to make your water soft or dye friendly. Very educative and useful. Many thanks, Nidhi and Anubha. Thank you so much, Ujjwala, for joining us. Anybody has any more questions? I'd like to call Anubha now. I am done with the session today. So I think Anubha can come now.
Hi everybody, I am back, and I can clearly see, I don't even have to ask that, did you enjoy the workshop? Was this workshop helpful to you? It was throughout engaging, you were throwing questions, Nidhi was immersed more than you in the workshop. I was giving a continuous signal, hey, time is up, we have to go. Okay, she's like, yeah, okay, I'll go. But yeah, it was fun, and I am glad that you enjoyed this workshop as much as we did.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you for being such a lovely audience.
Yes, I think you really enjoyed it, and you would like to keep this workshop frequently for everybody.
Absolutely. I think in the next workshop we can, advance for more. We can do 2 or more dyes, or we can do silks, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm very happy if I can take the workshop again. I'll be very happy.
Exactly. So why don't you tell us that what kind of national dyeing workshop you would want us to organize? That would be, helpful for us. In fact, whatever workshop we keep through your feedbacks only. So tell us.
I'll just show you the final result that we were able to achieve with this workshop.
Lovely.
Just a small thing, if you get patchiness in your fabric, please do not worry because we're using smaller utensils at home. We do not have the professional setups. But yes, this is definitely a Kickstarter if you want to get into your journey. And this is the color that we have achieved today with marigold.
I like it. Well, I can smell, sense a smell. What kind of smell is this?
So you can smell a little bit of marigold because we have used the flour and made the powder. So there's a smell of marigold, plus it's combined with alum and herda, so it's giving a little fruity sort of a smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, interesting. But this color is really bright
Yeah.
and beautiful and nice. Can haldi be used for yellow color?
Yes, absolutely. But haldi is a fugitive dye. Please do not rely on the color fastness or the light fastness of haldi. It really goes off. And use a harda. Harda ko zarur use kare if you are using haldi as your dye.
Interesting. So I think I will now take a few, I'll just open up a mic for now. And if anybody wants to say something about this workshop, I think we have taken enough questions. I just want to have a feedback that what more workshops you would want to hear from us, you want us to organize for you. I have seen dyeing. Ma'am, will you conduct block printing workshop in future? If it's there, let me know. I am curious to join. Sure, actually, in fact, we were planning to have an a hand block workshop for you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So this the month we were about to organize on 31st, but some things were not in place. So, but we'll try it next month, and we'll make sure that we do it for you.
We have a question, I guess.
I have a dyeing with fresh flowers and steaming it. I have seen dyeing with fresh flowers and steaming it. Would like to learn it.
Definitely, a eco printing workshop can also be arranged. I think we
All right,
over Anubha and get it fixed.
Yes. So what I'll do just right away is I'll share you a feedback form with you. So what you can do is whatever workshop you want us to organize, fill in there so that we know that what workshop to line up for you all. So yeah, just give me a moment and you will have the feedback form with you.
Okay, while she's sharing the form with you, I'd like to show you these are the colors that are achievable with natural dyes. This is on cotton, silk, cotton linen, linen. So these are the shades that you can achieve, and please experiment, experiment, experiment. That's the only way to crack natural dyes. It's same as cooking, so don't be afraid of it. It's very therapeutic. Okay, I will just see how to use Retha. Okay, Retha is basically available in powder format as well as the cold format. I would suggest use it in powder format and very little because it lathers really well. Overall, if you're using it for washing your fabrics, I wouldn't recommend it because over a period of time, it leaves a white residue on your fabrics. So it's not an absolute thing to go to for washing. There are pH neutral detergents available in the market. I would suggest you use them if you want an alternative to it.
So I think we have had enough questions. I'll just take you through the surprises because questions will never end, and we'll never get tired of answering them.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's keep these questions for next time. And in fact, we have this Facebook community group where everybody keeps engaging with everybody regarding sewing, designing, and whatever we do here. So throw your questions there. Nidhi is there on the community group. So whatever questions you have, we click a group picture here, and we'll the post.
You can email us your queries. We'll try and revert to you as soon as possible. And if you do the natural dyeing at home, face any problems or want to share feedbacks, please do email us, Instagram us, Facebook, whatever is convenient to you.
Yes. So I'll just share the Facebook community group link to you, so you can send us requests there and be a part of that community, which we call it Fab Tribe community. And now, since you have joined this workshop and you have learned a lot there, you are also a Fab Tribe member. Welcome, Fab Tribe, to Fabric Lord.
Anubha, I'll just take the last question because it's very apt right now. I'm sorry, I am making everybody late, but How do you maintain naturally dyed fabrics? Do not wash them often. Prefer to shade dry them. Prefer to wash them with pH neutral detergents. If pH neutral detergents are not available, use liquid detergents. And moreover, wash less, because these dyes fade over time. Care them like you would care for a baby, and always think of natural dyes as heirloom dyes, because with each passing day they get better. And yeah, that's about it.
Interesting. So I am assuming that you already have sent us a request on Facebook group. So you can throw your questions there and you'll have our group picture selfie there. Right. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly show you, let you do your surprise now. And for that, you have to give me like 30 seconds for it. I am just opening up, visual presentation for you all. So Nidhi, do you know what our next workshop is scheduled for? You can see, and people will be able to see right away.
This one's going to be interesting.
Yes. So next workshop, someone asked that how can we get update about the workshop? So there's a section on our website. I'll take you through, and you'll have a look on that. So for now, next workshop is on 25th and 26th next weekend. That is Friday or Saturday. Great. And what we'll do 2 days, we'll have this is a 2-day workshop where on first day we learn how to draft a pattern, and on second day we learn how to sew pants together. So and you have an early advantage because this is not has opened on website yet, and it will open up tomorrow. So go register, hurry, and I'll just share the link with you here. So you have the early mover advantage already. So this is there. Now coming to this is the Fabriclore group community Facebook group which I just talked about. So it's a community member. We have that's around 10K members on Facebook group.
That's
yes. So we are almost 10K members strong family. And what do we do there? So if you are into natural dyeing, or you are into sewing, DIY, or even you just try to like to go to tailors and get your dress designed according to your style and your taste, so this page is for you. Come and
it's a very robust community, guys. Please do join. You'll get a lot of inspirations on a daily basis.
Yes, that's there, and some of the glimpses you can already see.
Yeah.
So I'll just also take you through what our customers have made. So this is a glimpse, which is, and you will see that it's not only women's clothing, which we usually assume
yes.
fabric hai, it's a fashion thing. So women apne kapde banayenge. But you will see, it's not just kurta. It's men's, it's women,
yeah.
it's western silhouette.
Lovely.
Home decor, tent.
Wow. It's a very robust community, guys. It keeps building every day. There are a lot of people who just share their creativity, and we would love for you guys to be part of it. Share your natural dyeing experiences with us.
Yeah, so that is there. Now coming to surprise. Finally, we are on the surprise for them.
Yay.
So yes, this is a surprise for you. I hope that you have submitted your feedback forms, because that is the key to the surprise. But I am assuming you have already done it. Usually I'll share the link of feedback form at this point, but I've done it early. So let's get going and share it with you. So what we have done is we have created this Suez collection for you, there because you have to experiment. Like if you are doing a natural dye thing, so you have to experiment. It's not the thing that first try में हम
excel कर जाएंगे.
So someone suggested that कि हम try करते हैं, so it gets heavier on our pocket. We have, so what if Fabriclore can do something? So what we did is we curated a collection for them, and we have around 35% of discount.
Wow.
Which is like huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is on a specific link, by the way, which is not available on public domain. It is exclusively available to FabTribe community. Yeah. To avail the discount, you have to use Sewing 35 code, which you can see on the screen right now. Yeah, and where is the link? I'll just share the link right away. And if you if you are not able to save the link, do not worry, because all these links will be shared to you on your email with the recording. So yeah, you do not need to worry. Mm. And here's the link for sewing collection. So yeah, enjoy and experiment whatever you want to do.
Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us.
I'll just head to the last surprise. This is for the particular link. And if you like anything from our website, this is a small token of motivation from our side. Use this code and you can have 10% off throughout the website. This is and yeah, make sure this is available only until the 21st. So go and explore. Now, I would like you all to do one thing. I would want you to take the screenshot of this, that now you are officially a part of FabTribe member at FabTribe.
Yes.
So flaunt it to everybody. Take a screenshot, upload it on WhatsApp status, your story, your Facebook, and do tag us so that we know and we share it with the world again. So do it, take a screenshot, I'm here, and then we'll take a group picture. So, okay, I'm counting to 3, take a group shot, take the screenshot, 3, 2, 1, bam. I'm sure you have done it already. So going to, now time for group picture. I'll just increase my screen. Now I would request everybody to open up their camera so that we can see you all and we have a group picture. I would like to see everybody smiling in beautiful face. And more than me, I think Nidhi would be very happy to see you all. Great guys. Poonam is here. Sangeeta is there. You should on your phone. We can, it is easier for us to read the names. Read the names. Not in this picture. What's that? Okay. Hi. It's so good to see your smiling faces. So these were the faces we were talking to.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'll just read out the names.
Guys, just a bit. Just open your cameras for a bit. Yeah, we want to see you and we want to just thank you for being part of this.
Nikita, hi Nikita. Vitika, hi. Sangeeta, hi Sangeeta. Soumya, hi Soumya. रेनू बहल हम आपका कैमरा नहीं आपका देख नहीं पा रहे हैं फेस तो आपको शायद कैमरा रोटेट करना होगा. Yes, I think now you did.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so let's click a group picture. I would request everybody to smile. We'll count to 3 and we'll have a nice smiling.
Guys, Tejasvi, Mona, Astra, please switch on your cameras.
All right, so all set? All set, Nidhi?
Yes, all set.
We will smile और हम दांत दिखा के आराम से हंसेंगे क्योंकि हम ऑलरेडी छोटे-छोटे दिख रहे हैं तो दांत दिखा के और मजे से it looks good. Where's the shutter button? Here. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Amazing, beautiful.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Nidhi, why don't you pick up the clothes and it will be more fun in fact. This is what we did. Just a second. Let me just share this first. Yes, all right. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Amazing.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Now I'll just allow you to unmute yourself. I think you can already. Allow Payal, no. Now you can unmute yourself and talk. So if
Hello, Anubha.
Hello.
I just want to say something that I didn't receive the mail. I didn't get the notice or link through mail.
Okay, you can check your spam. Did you check your spam?
I checked everywhere. Then I called the number and then I got the link on WhatsApp from somebody.
Okay. And when did you register? Did you register?
I registered on 13th.
Oh, okay. So I'll check it through. I'll check it through. Thank you.
I got the message that your order has been shipped on 14th, but I didn't get the link in mail.
Okay, yeah, the generally link is shared within an hour. So today,
I didn't get it. My friends got, and I didn't get. So I got worried, and then I called on the number which from which that message had come. Then
oh,
they sent. Then they sent the link.
सेम प्रॉब्लम सेम. हम 3 फ्रेंड ज्वाइन किए हुए हैं आपके साथ में.
okay,
मैं, संगीता, रेनू और रेनू ने हमको भेजा है लिंक.
okay. Check the
हमारा
gate.
हमारा कनेक्शन नहीं हो पा रहा डायरेक्ट.
ठीक है, वाइब फैब्रिक लॉर से आपके पास आया होगा.
नहीं,
आप
नहीं,
क्योंकि
फैब्रिक लोर से मैसेज आया था that your order has been shipped, but I didn't get the link in the mail. Then I called today. Then they sent the mail on. Then sent the link on WhatsApp.
all right. So thank you for letting us know. We'll get it checked through the
Yeah,
team.
yeah. Because it was such an interesting workshop, and I feel now that I would have missed it because of this.
You all have missed it. It's like a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please
so
take
much.
care next time so that I get the link in time.
Thank you so much for raising it up here and telling us. And I'll.
It was a very interesting, very educative, and very informative workshop. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming and joining in. You made the workshop even more vibrant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
हेलो,
Workshop
I'm
is
इंदिरा शरण.
इंदिरा जी, ये बस एक सेकंड मैं सबको बता दूं तो वर्कशॉप फॉर्मली कंक्लूड हो गई है. तो अगर किसी को और कुछ काम है तो आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग रह भी सकते हैं और जा भी सकते हैं. और अब हम यहाँ पे बस हम एक दूसरे को जानेंगे और थोड़ी सी बातें करेंगे. तो फॉर्मली सारी चीजें हो गई हैं. ठीक है, तो इंदिरा जी बताइए कैसे हैं आप? हाउ आर यू?
मैं, संगीता जी और रेनू, हम तीनों फ्रेंड ने एक साथ ज्वाइन करा, लेकिन हमारा रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं हो पा रहा था. मेरा रेनू जी ने करवाया रजिस्ट्रेशन. मुझे वैसे व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज आया है, लेकिन मेल से नहीं आया. मेल मेरे को फिर रेनू जी ने किया फॉरवर्ड.
तो वो मैं चेक करूंगी कि क्या ग्लिच है, क्या सिस्टम है, कि कुछ लोगों को जा रहा है, कुछ लोगों को नहीं जा रहा है. So and I'll make sure that next time it does not happen.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very
Bye.
और ये फैब्रिक लॉर का आपको
Class.
फर्स्ट, हाउ डिड यू गेट टू नो अबाउट फैब्रिक लॉर? फैब्रिक लॉर के बारे में आपको कैसे पता लगा?
रेनू जी ने बताया.
रेनू जी से.
तो हम के पास चलते हैं एक्चुअली. रेनू जी आप बताइए.
हमारा हम पार्ट एंड क्राफ्ट का ग्रुप है.
आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट का ग्रुप है.
हाँ.
अरे फिर तो आपको जुड़ना चाहिए. और क्योंकि हम भी यही दूसरे तरीके का आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट करते रहते हैं फैब्रिक से, और हम मिलके भी कुछ कर सकते हैं. सो रेनू जी आप बताइए. रेनू जी का एक्चुअली माइक काम नहीं कर रहा है, तो रेनू जी भी अभी तक बोल चुकी होती. वो पहले भी उन्होंने बोलने का ट्राई किया था. सो रेनू जी आप ट्राई कीजिए, माइक ऑन.
हमारा ग्रुप तो आपके साथ में जरूर जुड़ेगा.
बिल्कुल. मैं आपको मेरी ईमेल आईडी यहाँ पे दे रही हूँ. आप जरूर मुझे अपना नंबर ड्रॉप करिए यहाँ पे.
हाँ, ईमेल आईडी दे दीजिए आप.
हाँ, मेल आईडी दे दीजिए.
तो ये मेरी पर्सनल ईमेल आईडी है. कोई भी आपको कुछ भी कांटेक्ट करना हो किसी भी चीज के रिगार्डिंग, आपको खुद कोई सेशन लेना हो या फिर कुछ कोई फीडबैक हो सेशन के रिगार्डिंग या वर्कशॉप्स के रिगार्डिंग, so this is my email ID. You can mail me here and I can get in touch with you directly. So this is you can get in touch with me here. Anybody else would want to say or we can conclude this workshop formally.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much.
बाय.
अच्छा लगा आप लोगों से मिलकर.
हेलो, मुझे कुछ पूछना था. ये सब प्रोसेस होने के बाद ये जो ड्राई करते हैं ना क्लॉथ, सन में ड्राई कर सकते हैं या ऐसी कोई डार्क प्लेस पे ड्राई करना है?
शेड में ड्राई करिए. और आगे भी जब आप इसको यूज करेंगे ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस तो कोशिश करिएगा बहुत ज्यादा साबुन से वॉश नहीं करें. शेड ड्राई से अगर आपको इजी है वेयर करने में तो प्लीज शेड ड्राई करिए. वंस इन अ वाइल ही वॉश करिए, और जब भी वॉश करिए पीएच न्यूट्रल डिटर्जेंट या लिक्विड डिटर्जेंट ही यूज करिए.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. So before we go and say bye to all, I would like to say thank you to Nidhi for coming
Thank
out.
you so much.
It has been a pleasure. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा आज वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट करके and I hope बहुत सारी क्वेरीज आंसर कर पाई होंगी मैं. और जो भी क्वेरीज आपको आती हैं आगे, I would request आप अनुभा का ईमेल है, आप मेल कर सकते हो and we'll be in touch. प्लीज एक्सपेरिमेंट करिए and थैंक यू मुझे ये मौका देने के लिए कि मैं बांट सकूं आपसे जितना भी मुझे आता है. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nidhi, for doing this amazing workshop, and you clearly are happy, and
I'm
they are
very
happy. We are happy. Fabulous is happy. So we'll keep doing such fun workshops coming in coming months and coming ahead. I hope you have filled the feedback form, and we so that we know that how was this workshop and how can we make it better, and what new workshops you would want us to organize. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye bye. Take
Have
care.
a happy Holi, guys.
Happy Holi. Bye.
Bye.